me first express my appreciation for the opportunity to address this gathering here at Wayne State University in this very lovely facility here in this room. And let me express my appreciation to my brothers in the faith of the Muslim Student Association, and also to the Imam who has been instrumental in helping us to bring about this occasion here. There's a saying of the prophets that I'm going to give, but first I would like to refer to the Qur'an, the holy book of all Muslims throughout the world, where God says that He has rendered whatever is in the skies and whatever is in the earth to be of service to man, to yield its resources, to respond to man in his endeavor to improve his state. However, we know that many are denied the great blessings and resources of this creation, skies and the earth. And as people of faith, we understand the reason for us being denied that. That is only given to those who make great effort. The people who don't make great effort, they can expect little or nothing. Whereas God says also in our holy book that the man, the human being, can have no more than that for which he strives. No great effort, no great reward, no great benefit. I begin with that because I believe, as our holy book says, the Word of God says in the Qur'an, that man has been created and put on this earth to grow and to do great things and to realize great freedom and great responsibility. And it's endless. There's no limit to it. I believe it is limitless. There's no limit to it. But God says, when you have finished one task, enter right away into another. And that continues forever. There's no limit. We cannot exhaust the resources that God has created for us. However, there is a great problem. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he said, everyone is born a Muslim. We believe that the human being is given by God a Muslim nature. Yes. And the Prophet said that it is the circumstances, the environment that he's put in that makes him other than a Muslim, a Christian, or a Jew, or whatever. There's another saying of the Prophet where it is told how God introduced the beautiful, wondrous creation that He had made to the angel, the archangel Gabriel. And when Gabriel saw the wonderful creation of our Lord, he said, "Oh God, oh Lord, how can anyone go astray in such a creation?" And then our Lord God showed the angel Gabriel, the creation as it had been altered by Satan. And Gabriel, the angel, said, "My Lord, how can anyone go straight in such a creation?" So we are challenged by our environment. I understand from that the greatest challenge to man is his environment. We know primitive man. The greatest challenge to primitive man is his environment. And now we live in an advanced, highly civilized, or I should say highly scientific and technological society. And we're still challenged by the environment. The environment is still our greatest challenge. And we are held responsible by our Creator for our behavior. God has created us with intelligence, and we're responsible for our behavior as long as we are sane-minded. Only the insane are I would say, overlooked for their behavior. We have a choice to follow conscience or pleasure. And in this month of February, the month wherein set aside for Black History observance, which I don't recognize. I do not recognize a month for Black History observance. I think we should observe it every month. So that we make it better every month. That's right. Be more worried about the history you're making right now than the history behind it. And I don't think we're making much of any history right now. Not as a mass movement or as a people. In this month, I would like to call our attention to a major problem that we have had as a people since good times came. And that is the tendency on our part to follow pleasures. The pleasures of life, to seek the pleasures of life, and forget the lessons of life. I was reading a magazine, good magazine, very excellent magazine, and it had a couple of its pages devoted to Black History Month. And it said, turn to such and such page for your quiz. So I turned to the page, and all I saw was the name of personality. And you had to identify those personalities. What about the events in Black men's life? They're important too. This kind of orientation in us regarding our greatness, our excellence, is bad for us. If people, whether they be blacks or whites or Arabs or Africans, if they only remember the names of people, they only remember personalities, they be lost. They'll have no future. Yes, sir. We should remember personalities in connection with something bigger than the person. The principles the person stood for. The work he did for the society or for its people. This is more important than just remembering names. To say that he was a civil rights leader, you'll get an A in that magazine. Dr. King. You see? Just to say he was a civil rights leader, you get an A in that magazine. But more important is to know what principles that man lived by. What motivated him to have the courage or to make the sacrifices he made? What kind of principles were operating in his life? So we have a long way to go. And I think the way we have to go, I'm talking about African Americans, is backwards. Not backwards in the sense that you would think. I mean backwards in the road that we've been walking. We've left most of our marbles behind us. Now, I will turn to the Muslim life, because I believe that the Muslim life is not only an answer for us, but the answer for all people. The Muslim life is a life that is at odds with a great number of things. We can hardly count them if we stay here all our life. But most of all, the Muslim life is a life that is at odds with injustice. And the worst of injustice to man is shirk. The Arabic term, Quranic term, meaning false God. False God. To give man a false god is the worst injustice to man.
That's right.
To do it knowingly and with an intention, with an intent to give the man a false god, is unforgivable. And to believe in that knowingly, such falsehood knowingly, is unforgivable. But God says He forgives all sins except two. Our environment, because of the kinds of interests we find in our society, our environment has changed since I was a boy. The moral concern is missing. And we are struggling now to hold on with what little moral life we have still.
Yes.
I mean society, the American society, and the world, I believe. Because the great influences of America, due to its popularity and its material might and its character, go from beyond our own borders to lands and peoples all over the world. Even the Muslim land is not safe from the bad, detrimental influences of America's unidentifiable culture. Falsehood in our religion is an injustice. And the Muslim life is opposed to falsehood. We have to struggle against all injustice. Falsehood is injustice, therefore we should be struggling against falsehood. Corruption, this growth of obscenity in the society, is an injustice according to the teachings of our holy books and our prophets. And we are in conflict with it. We have to contend with it. We have to resist it. Our struggle is against that. The denial of universal basic rights is an injustice. Therefore, the Muslim community that is aware of itself, its responsibility, must struggle against such injustice. To deprive any descendants of our father Adam of honor is an injustice. And we believe we all, as Allah says in His holy book, we all are the descendants of Adam. And God says, قَدْ كَرَمْنَا كُلِّ بَنِي آدَمَ. That God says we have made honorable every child of Adam. Every child of Adam is honorable. Therefore, every human being is deserving of respect, deserving of honor. To deprive any human being of that honor, and the measure of honor we require depends upon the measure of our intellect. The measure of our intellect. As our intellect expands, then we demand more respect, more honor. We can't be treated like we were treated when we had no sense. To deny knowledge to God's creatures that He has revealed for all of His creatures is a great injustice. And the Muslim has to be against that. To profane, to treat as trivial what is sacred in the universal religion is an injustice. And Muslims have to fight against that. Allah Most High says in the Qur'an for us that our contention is not with the people of faith. Our contention is only with the oppressors, the wrongdoers. So Muslims, you should understand that we are not here to fight or oppose people because of the religion that they have chosen or because of their national life. No. The question we ask, are you oppressing people? Or are you a just people? If you're not just, you're an oppressor, we should be against them.
Yes.
One of the notorious characters in the scripture, his name is Pharaoh, Pharaoh.
Yes.
And why was he challenged? Because he was an oppressor.
Yes.
He was a notorious oppressor. To deny man the honor of responsibility for the conscience and for the fate of his own community is an injustice. That community can be as small as his own family at home. In one room, in an apartment, or in a dwelling. A bungalow or so, I'll say. To deny him the honor of having the responsibility for the conscience and fate of his community is a terrible injustice. To confound his senses, confuse his senses, and prevent the fruitful ordering of his life is a terrible injustice. All that I'm listing here is being done in America. And all of these injustices are done in America. To treat him as though he has not responsibility for authority. To treat him as though he's not entitled to authority is a terrible injustice. Allah says he made you rulers on the earth, inheritors to inherit responsibility for governance, for supervision, for rule. God said he created you for that. For any man or any force, or combination of forces to deny you that is a terrible injustice. Our Prophet Muhammad said, each of you is an authority. And God is going to hold you accountable for how you carry out your authority. Not speaking to a particular race. He's speaking to every man. Every man has been made an authority. And God is going to hold us responsible for how we have discharged that authority. God says that he neither created the human being nor the jinn for any purpose except his worship. That's the great revelation. That's the great revelation. But most of the people, they will miss that great revelation. God is so independent. He doesn't need, as Allah said, he doesn't need anyone to feed him. He feeds. He needs no one to feed him. He needs no riches. He is the rich. He provides riches. He needs no riches. So that is God. So he's so big and beyond our grasp that we have to think over and over again to understand how he relates to us. So God never, I hope I'll be forgiven for using this expression, pats himself on the back in addressing us. So God never pats himself on his back in while addressing man. He's too big for that. He needs it for us. He says he neither created man nor jinn for any purpose except to serve him. Now, God also said in our holy book, count not your religion as a favor to God, it is a favor to you. So he has not created man for any purpose other than to serve him. Now, what is that saying to us? The greatest opportunity for you is in you serving God. Those nations, those powers who have made the greatest advances on this earth have been those who believe in God. Yes.
Yes, sir.
We know Russia has done a lot, but only upon the heels of those who said they believe in God.
Yes. Yes, sir.
And we know many in Russia believe in God.
Right.
There's many people in Russia that believe in God. In spite of the position that they take as a political power. So, if we understand this, that our greatest hope is in respecting God, giving service for God, your status goes up. Your freedom, your power, everything rises as you choose bigger things to work for. Is that not a fact? Yes. So now, what can be bigger to work for than God?
Nothing. Bigger than that.
If I work for God, then there's no limit on how far I can go or how much I can do. Because eventually, I'm going to look at the things that's bothering me outside of my reach. And I'm going to say, God, I'm serving you. And I believe in you. This is wrong. Give me a way to deal with it. I have the courage to reach out beyond the ability that I'm aware of right now. So man's ability expands more and more as he reaches for greater things to work for. And the highest is God. And God has not left us in the dark. He says that he has prepared for us a field of work as a garden. Its measurement is as the measurement of the heavens and the earth. And again, God says that he has made you up for your utility and for command whatever's in the skies and whatever's in the earth. He has said that sun and moon render services. They submit. The man who has reached up for higher things to work for, greater causes to work for, he has gotten where we should have been. He has gotten energy from the sun. He's gotten vehicles to go to the moon. That's where the Muslims should have been. The Muslims should have been in outer space before the non-Muslims, because the greatest encouragement to pursue the unknown, to go and search and explore the vast regions of this universe, the greatest encouragement does not come from other books than the Quran. This is a fact. It came in the age of darkness. About 1,400 years or so ago, during the Dark Ages. And that book awakened the intellectual sensitivity and appetite of the Arabs and others that embraced the faith, and caused them to be the factor for bringing about the reawakening, the renaissance, the reawakening of the sciences. This is a fact of history. The same book can do the same for us now. If we will only read it for more than faith. Other religions that focus on faith and stress faith and say faith is all of it, have been preached so much and so loud during the rule of Europe and now America on the West, that it has sensitized us. Even Muslims have been sensitized to think that religion, the substance of religion, is faith. The condition for you is faith. The substance is knowledge. It has been that way all the time. The condition is faith. The substance is knowledge. And when Muslims start to read the Quran for not only spiritual guidance and moral guidance, but guidance for their whole life, for their future as people on this earth, then we will see the great advancement, we will see the great opportunity, We will see the great productivity that God has made possible for us as Muslims. We will see it.
Right.
But it won't come until we have that kind of approach to the Quran and that kind of idea in our religion. That it is not. Look how our holy book, God speaks of those who just have faith. Says they are ignorant. They know not the scripture except by faith. So that tells us that we know it except by nothing. We only know it by faith. We're ignorant too. All you know the Quran by faith only, and you're ignorant. You should know it more than by faith. You should know the wisdom, the great knowledge that God has put in the Holy Book, and that He has let shine through Muhammad the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. Prophet Muhammad, he didn't even talk of things that are beyond man's mental grasp without connecting it with some reality. He spoke of dreams. Once he spoke of a dream, and he said he saw milk coming out from the bones. But he didn't leave it like that. He said that's science. And now, as a young man, I learned in science that the substance of the bone is milk. Not the milk, but the calcium. Huh? It took me that long to learn the science. So we should understand that and strive for excellence. Again, Prophet Muhammad said that the believer is the one when he does something, he always strives for excellence. He strives for excellence in whatever he does. If he does a work, he strives for excellence. That's needed. That's needed in all of our lives. The effort you make at home, is it important? The effort you make to live with each other and be is important at home, your family. The effort you make to educate your children is important. So you should strive for excellence. The effort you make to create a nice environment in your home, you should strive for excellence. Start right at home. And then be that way on the job. If we be the best that God has revealed to us in the Quran and in Prophet Muhammad's life, we will be the best people. God says if you are truly believers, then you must succeed. You must succeed. You must outstretch everybody else. You must excel. You must go above and beyond others if you are indeed believers. Why? Because if you're indeed believers, you have in your possession the Quran and the most productive tools on this earth in terms of guidance, knowledge, ideas, etc. If anybody else is outstripping you, it's because you have been taken off track. That's my firm belief. And I preach that in our community, and I find that in spite of the shambles in our life, then the situation that we find our lives in, ourselves in as a people in this country, almost a complete absence of any cooperation among us. Newcomers come here from the Far East, from Cuba, from Haiti, and they come here and they have more concern for each other. They live together, they share, they work together, they save together. But pretty soon we find them getting something, accumulating something here in America. And we wonder how come we are not able to do anything. It's because we don't care about each other. We're good people, but we don't have any. No, we have heart too. We have a whole lot of heart. We're good people. Got a whole lot of heart. But no social heart. The heart's a sexual heart. Greedy heart. Playful heart. But no social heart. You see? The heart hasn't been socialized. And I do believe that if a study was made of those that have embraced the faith of Islam, from our community. Since 1975, in spite of the bad economic times here in America, you'll find that we have grown. We have grown. I'm talking about dollar-wise. We have grown. But it's not centralized anymore. We have Islamic democracy. It's not centralized anymore, and we don't do it for promotion. See, I remember when we didn't mind having a show of material success, just as a promotion item to promote our image in Black America. But we don't have that anymore. Now, I'm not condemning the past, rather, the leader of the past. I'm not saying that to condemn them. Understanding the circumstances and the evils that leadership was in. Under Almighty Elijah Muhammad, it's gone. It was like a quick drug, it's gone. I was told that I was the original man, the owner of the maker, the cream of the planet Earth, father of civilization, and God of this universe. That's what I was told. That's gone. But I read the Qur'an, and the Qur'an said you were the servant of God. You're the Khalifa. But everything in this world has been created to yield service to you. If you would just worship your God that made it. That's the age. I'll never forget it. It just grows and grows on me. You know, it doesn't get weak. It's not like a shot or injection or a quick charge from a hot battery. It stays with me and it grows. As I get older, it just grows with me. And make me more and more impatient with mediocre performance, small performance on my part. And if you read it and hear what God said about you and your work, you will feel as I feel if you a sane person. So I hope that what I said in some way help us to understand our responsibility, because I begin with conscience and the threat to that conscience by the things that offer us pleasure. And that our responsibility should be to God first. We say, as we awake and hear the adhan, the first thing we hear is, God is greater. Yes. Allah Akbar. God is greater. We put Him first. He's more important than anything else. And if we set priorities behind that, that continue to set priorities. God is greater, what's next is greater. If there's a man, he's not more important than Muhammad. Muhammad is greater. Yes. If there's a book, it's not more important than the Quran. The Quran is greater. So just keep setting priorities and we'll go right. Assalamu alaikum.
So good. So good. So good.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Before we close out in prayer, we're going to make a couple of announcements. Before we leave, we would like you all to give us a chance for Imam Muhammad to get out.
I'm pretty sure so that you have right.
Oh,
they were like.
Okay.
15 minutes.
Okay. Retract that statement for now. But when we get ready to leave, please let the Imam leave first. Right now, we're going to open the floor to questions and answers. And the questions will be directed to the lecture. We'll try to keep the questions that all of you ask to the lecture. We'll do that for about the next 15, no longer than 20 minutes, inshallah. And then when we're finished with that, Imam Salim Mubneen will come close out in prayer. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
Brother John, I just like to ask about I'm reading in the paper today, our paper, the Muslim journal about the direction of the Muslim community as far as in the city. I know I've been putting a lot of work into a couple of buildings. A lot less, you know, do up close to the choir. We try to establish an Islamic community on the side of town and live on. we have a lot of headaches. You know, I have, you know, in the town, a lot of stress. We always continue to make progress.
Right.
And, you know, I like to try to stay in tune with the leadership that I tell people follow. It's your leadership. And I like to know what directions in the inner cities we should, you know, like try and strive towards, because I know we should be trying to strive towards getting out of these type of cake decadent environment, how to raise our children.
Yeah.
I also like to know what type of
All right. Okay, I think I understand the question. All right. Yes, we have recently invited the community to consider investing in small towns, small cities rather than the big cities. Going to the smaller cities and investing there, getting homes and dwellings there, investing in schools, messed schools, business, etc. But that doesn't mean that there is not desire, still a very strong interest in the big cities, in improving the life in the big cities and making investments there. For many of us, that's why it's not a program that is just made a responsibility of everybody, and everybody has to do it our way. That's not the way it is. Because there are some individuals who see opportunity for themselves in the big cities, in these big cities. If you see good opportunity for yourself in these big cities, seize that opportunity. And what you're doing is commendable. It's very good. I wish you all the success with it. But what we're trying to do is give these people that can't find anything to do in the big cities. They don't see opportunities in the big cities. A situation away from these big cities that will accommodate their spirit to grow. What we are most interested in is having an environment that is not as troublesome for us as the big city environment, for our home, our families, our children, for our schools. You have a school in the big cities like Chicago. If you can't get it tax exempt, then the taxes alone can kill you. And even if you can get tax exemption for it, the utilities will kill you. So, and all the regulations and inspections and everything is too much. But if you go to smaller communities where they're not carrying that great burden the city is carrying, you won't have so many pressures on you, and so many high bills to pay. So that's why we are advocating the move to smaller cities, small town communities. It would be healthier for us, and I think it would give us an opportunity, being economically weak or non-existent, it would give us an opportunity to grow a little bit. So what you're doing is very good. We don't mean abandon the cities, turn away from it and give it up. No, we don't mean that. If you see opportunity in the big city, seize the opportunity. In fact, we don't intend to give up our propagation effort in the big city. We just don't do what the sensible rights and other groups do. They go away from the trouble and establish themselves in a better situation and come to the city and go back with their pockets loaded. That's what we ought to do. Do the same thing. Establish yourself where the situation is better and come to the city and go back home with your pockets loaded. They're enough? Yeah. All right. Yes, sister. Walaikum assalam.
Relation to our responsibility to the law. I heard it said that when one makes a mass, there should not be any pictures on the wall, and I'd like to hear a response from you.
Yes. In Muslim culture, there's not pictures of human beings or animals unless it's for scientific reasons. For science. Science is okay if it's serving serving science or serving a purpose in science or something like that. But you have to have an anatomy of the human being to teach the sciences. But just to have people's pictures the way we have people's pictures is not Islamic. It's not Islamic. My picture, I don't have it in my house. You can find it in a book or something. They have it in a picture book or something. But I don't impose upon my wife if she wants her picture up. That's her business. If it's in the direction of Qibla, I just take it off the wall until I finish my prayers. But it's better to have a room, a prayer room. It's better to have a prayer room, and then you don't have to have the pretty pictures. They're distractions, and it's no good. That's the way of Muslim. Yes, yes. Walaikum assalam.
Imam, there's some mosques in Detroit which they're supposed to open like 5 times a day.
Yes.
And I know that there's some, as I said, they don't open only for Jum'ah prayer. And I know one even doesn't open for Jum'ah prayer.
No, it's not good.
The surrounding, the community around that mosque or that building are Muslims. So I'd like to...
That's no good. That's no good at all. Yes. Yes. We have had the same kind of situation, but not since I've been leader. But since I've been leader, we always open for Jummah. And many times the mosque is open for the 5 daily prayers. Sometimes they're open for the 5 daily prayer. But most of the time, if you come for the 5 daily prayer, you won't find the mosque open. And the only way I know to solve the problem is to move there and live there myself. Here's something that most of us are not aware of. The most serious thing in this society is the thing that can do the most to make life right. And that's Islam. It is the most feared thing in this society, Islam. If you really want to live it right, then you should understand that you have a struggle. You're going to be persecuted. You're going to be worked against. They send bombs and infiltrators among us. They send wise infiltrators and bombs. They just bombs. They send them among us. And if somebody volunteers, say, oh yes, I'll stay here in the mosque and make sure the door's open. And you trust him, you find out that he's nothing but a bum. He's using the mosque for his own private concerns, and he's projecting a bad image. He's giving a bad image of the Muslims, and you get rid of him, you try another one, and the only people that will do it are the people that are really good and supportive. People with jobs and people that are doing things. The Imam himself. I would suggest that the Imam, that we find mosques that we can live in. The Imam should make his quarters in the mosque if it's possible. That way, the problem will be solved. But to just say, we need someone to stay in the mosque. I did it. I said, we need someone to stay in the mosque. Got a bum. It's disgraceful. And if you leave it open in America, you might not find the writing on the wall when you come back. They take even the writing off the wall, So especially in Chicago South Side and places like that, you can't leave the mosque open. We move to these smaller towns, it'll be different. Yes. In these smaller towns, you have better people, better class of people, people who are conscious of their behavior. And they don't just do anything. Then you can leave it open. But if you leave these churches that we find, they're locked up. Except for service time, they have the church locked up. Many of the priests, the heads of the church, they will live right in that facility. So if you come there for something, you can ring the bell and get them. And I would suggest that imams think about that. When you choose a mosque, a place for mosque, choose a place that can accommodate you and your family and live there. That'll be the best. But we should never be satisfied with not having prayers called 5 times a day. Never be satisfied. There's nothing, no excuse for us. We have to keep working at it until we get it. Yes, I'm going to take maybe a couple more. The time is gone. I can't hear you way back there. I'm sorry. You have to come up here. Yes, brother, right here. Yes. Walaikum salam.
I would like to know why certain financial resources in the Muslim community are like being held up in court. What can be done about it?
Mm-hmm.
Just everything we constantly say about how we can help, get this, situation fixed and whatever.
Yeah. Well, you got ranges of good and bad, responsible people everywhere, even in government. And I think the probate court is the bucket of the law system, the legal system. It's the bucket of the legal system. It's just waiting for somebody, there's a legal opportunity for the bucket to come and eat up what's left, Someone died, whatever assets, whatever they accumulated, the bucket of the called probate court is waiting. And if you don't have a will, you're in trouble. So we have to begin with us not having a will. Elijah Muhammad has no will. And finances were confused. We have to begin with that we ourselves were in a position to be taken advantage of. So a lot of wrong is being done, and I think it is the Hoover plan being carried on. You got relatives of Elijah Muhammad who used to live very comfortable lives. They had nice homes and cars and money to spend every day. When the policy changed and we were not requiring the believers to give that kind of money to the leaders, the situation changed for them. And now they don't have job records. They can't go to the job market and get a job that can give them the same kind of living that they're used to. They're desperate for money. So I don't really feel too bad about them. So they go to the court. They're trying hard to survive, to keep living, you see. So I wish they had stronger will and stronger morals. I wish they were willing to suffer and say, we're not going to help the courts, the probate courts, eat up the property of the Muslim community. I wish they were like that, but I can't feel too bad about them because I know they have either to try to get it that way or to go beg or to go on welfare. You all won't send me enough money to take care of all those people and keep them in that style of living, will you? I know I won't ask you for it. So it's a great test for them and it's a great test for us. Yes, one more. Way back there we can't. I don't think I'll be able to hear you way back there. Okay, all right. Just one moment. Yes. Yes, the AMCOP. I'll quickly speak on it. I'll quickly make a few statements on AMCOP. The AMCOP program was conceived and formed to bring about a huge volume for the community members once a year. They did not move in that direction. Instead, they concentrated on getting goods to supply salesmen and having a kind of organization to give vent to their bad emotions and grievances, etc. So they've done a lot of good. The people that they have attracted have been given an opportunity and a situation to improve themselves. So I don't stop them. I'm not opposing them at all, but I stop supporting them for that purpose, for the purpose that we were looking to. and that's the annual buy. I've stopped supporting them for that. I stopped supporting them as a committee or organization to advance our own programs, our programs. You see, I look at them now as a separate organization to themselves, and I wish them well. But I can't be responsible for them. I don't accept responsibility for them at all. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. No, I'm saying that I don't accept responsibility for it. I didn't say I won't support it. If they invite me to come and speak at one of their meetings or one of their fundraisers or one of their fairs, I would be inclined to try to answer their invitation if I could. Mm-hmm. I said I wish them well. They're doing good. They're working with people who need something to do, and they need to let off some steam, and the drill, make left face, right face like we used to do. You know, they still need to do that, so let them do it. Let them do it. They need it, let them do it. As long as they're Muslims, as long as they try to do good, I say I wish them well. But I can't be responsible for them, and I can't ask you to put your investments in their hands and trust them with it. Not to do what we asked them. No, they failed. I gave them a long time to produce. That is the national chairman. And I told them, I said, okay, it's been years now. You have until November. If you don't deliver by November, I told him that I can't be responsible for it anymore. So November passed, and I told him, well, this is it. I have to announce that I'm not responsible for this program anymore, and the people can call for their money back. We don't want to be responsible for their money.
In the area, they got money back right away, right?
Yes, we are sending the money back. Mustafa is in charge of that. He's watched over accounts, and we have been sending the money back. And whatever's money there, if you want it, you send for it, you get it. And I wish you would send for it, because we're not going to give it to them. They haven't done what they said they were going to do with it. We're not going to give the money to them. So you send for your money. We don't want to be responsible for it. Yes, the brother, he tried to reach me with his voice back there. Where is he? Yeah, he's closer now. All right. Yes.
Close to electing of Khalif, because it is true that Islam is, we're not practicing the state of Islam until we have Khalif.
Yes. I already got one. Sure. I all the time tell people my Khalif is Muhammad the Prophet, peace and blessings be on him.
Like the Sahabi word.
No, as long as I follow him the best I can, then that's good enough. I believe that the Khalifa is Muhammad, the Prophet. The prophets, they're the examples of they're the true Khalifa. And others can only follow them, that's all. We can only follow Prophet Muhammad. And in the degree that we follow him and obey him and carry out his sunnah, the Quran and his sunnah, we are Khalifa. Not singular, but collective. We want a Khalifa order. A Khalifa order of Muslims. And if we follow the Quran and the Sunnah, we will be that Khalifa order of Muslims. The individual Khalifas, they were not successful. Though we recognize them, they were not successful. Yes.
Like the redevelopment of our community maturely. Like renaming the Linwood and using different types of programs and assets that we have. What type of area, what type of direction are we going in as far as a universal banking fund, some type of that you do for us?
Yes, you got great ideas, very great ideas. Ideas much bigger than the reality of the black people, and that's what's going to make us become real. That's what's going to make us real. So again, all I can do is just support your aspirations and encourage you to keep going in that direction. But Islamic democracy is a democracy. Islam is also a democracy, free enterprise. We can't establish a leader and make him almost like a god, and people have to obey him and not question him, and then the other dictators, they use him to dominate the lives of the masses, of the foolish. You see, we can't have anything like that. So if you got an idea, get people that's qualified, get people in that field to work with you, and go on with your idea. This is Freedom Day. Yes. Yes.
The statement that you made about Islamic democracy.
Yes.
Knowing that democracy means that the people are ruling.
Yes.
This is the fourth statement in Islam. That Prophet ﷺ has stated that in Islam, Allah or Islam is the rule. That the command comes strictly from Salat, Zakat, from high. So how can the people rule when Allah has already gave the structure? How can the people make decisions when He said to establish the Salat, that means whatever it takes to establish that Salat? You don't have to worry whether it's a bum who goes into the mosque, because in the mosque it's not supposed to be the valuables. It's supposed to be only for the remembrance of Allah. Why is it that all of these things are based on American doctrine, American things?
When I say a bum, I don't mean a poor man.
Well, what I'm saying,
I mean a bum that doesn't care about cleaning up behind himself, filthy, stink up the place, dirty up the place, hurt the image of Muslims. That's what I meant when I said a bum.
reported that a man came into the
You don't look like a bum. You look like a decent person.
urinated into the mosque. He came in the lifetime of Muhammad ﷺ. The attitude of Muslims are to follow him, his example.
Yes, and what happened? What happened when the person urinated in the mosque?
He talked with them and he told them that this place is only for remembrance of Allah. This is not the place for using for sex or for
He
using.
corrected his behavior.
Right, and he cleaned up.
Yes, and cleaned it up. Right.
See, the attitude of Muslims.
But do you think you'd appoint him to be responsible for the mosque? Allah says in the Quran that the unclean are not to be given responsibility for the maintenance of the mosque.
Not the responsibility, brother. I'm saying that the responsibility is in the fact that a person trusts that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's faith should not be holding or possessing, so that they fear the thievery of people.
No, it's not, Richard. We didn't fear him that he would steal from us. That wasn't a fear. We didn't want him dirtying up the place. We didn't want him dirtying up the place and shaming the image of Muslims. That was the problem with that particular person.
You should look at Imam.
No, that's okay, Brother Imam. Everything's okay, Brother Imam. Brother Imam. Brother Imam, everything's okay. Don't worry. He's not insulting me. Okay.
The thing is that to make a statement that it's an Islamic democracy is the fourth statement.
Yes, Islam is a democracy. Judgment in Islam, decision making in Islam is first by the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet, and then by the learned, informed leaders, and then by the masses of people, the constituents of those leaders. That's Islam. And I'm quoting Hadith.
So in other words, the Quran is the supreme rule, or the laws of Allah is coming from the Quran in the way of the Prophet. So democracy meaning that the people rule, meaning that they can elect.
No, the people don't rule. The people don't rule. The people have a rule in judgment.
This is what I'm saying.
The people have a role in judgment, in the judgment, in the decision making. The people have a role. And a leader is not to dictate to Muslims. Every Muslim has the right, yes, as a leader. And the small smallest man in the Muslim society can question the leader and pull that leader down upon the authority of the Qur'an and the Sunnah and the Sharia in his good senses, right, according to the Hadith. Yes.
So in the law, it says, like the Prophet Muhammad said that a woman making prayer without Imam, her prayer is not accepted.
Without what?
Without Imam, without head cover, her hair showing his face.
Well, I know a Hadith that's more valid than that says, cover everything except the face, keep everything covered except the hands and the face. Yes. And that's what Muslims follow. The majority of Muslims follow the sound Hadith. They don't follow those that are weaker.
Well, in this fashion, and that if people decide that it's okay for the woman to uncover her hair.
Would you like all these sisters to cover their faces?
I said the hair.
I thought you said face. Oh, the hair. I see the hair. I see. Do you know also that that Prophet Muhammad, Allah in the Quran, did not impose the same restrictions on those people who had just come in the Muslim community from the Jahiliyyah, from the ignorance that he imposed on those who were informed and taught? He didn't impose the same restriction. Now, you think we're going to get Muslims from America by worrying about their hair and they're eating pork and they're committing adultery and fornication and stealing from each other? Let's start with the big things first and then get to the little things. I know a lot of those who cover their faces and they're stealing. They're criminals. Yes, we have to end this at some time. Yes, we have to end it at some time. So let's take one more, then we have. Yes, sister. What are you going to say?
The smaller towns, like purchasing of vacant agricultural land, should we have the land incorporated as religious education?
No, not necessarily. You have to study the situation, the legal circumstances there for you. Maybe it's better not to incorporate. And seek good legal advice from good Muslim if possible. Assalamu alaikum.